back to Zero Production Value Movie Reviews. I'm Eric Hoernke, and today I'm going to be discussing the 1986 film Aliens, directed by James Cameron. So when this film debuted, James Cameron wasn't the worldwide success that we know him to be today, but he was a hotshot young director fresh off the success of The Terminator. He would leverage that success and Alien success to obviously go on to become one of the most powerful and influential and creatively astounding directors probably of all time, although not the most prolific. He has surprisingly directed not that many films, but the films that he does direct are probably in the pantheon of great films of all time for various reasons. Not only for the stories, but probably a lot for his technical expertise. Obviously, he went on to direct such films as not only the second Terminator movie, The Abyss, True Lies, Titanic, and of course Avatar, which is supposed to be spawning sequels, which we haven't seen yet. In any case, this came, 7 years after the release of the original Alien movie. Like I said, I don't know what Ridley Scott was intending, but they had intended a sequel, but I guess between the executives and the production and everything, it just took this long to finally get the sequel greenlit, written, and they tapped the young, hotshot action director to direct. And as much of a classic as Ridley Scott made for the science fiction horror genre of filmmaking, James Cameron did an equally great job, but adapting it more into a science fiction action movie. So the film picks up with Ripley where we left her, which was heading back in stasis through space to Earth. If you remember from the first movie, she thought it was going to take about 10-ish years to get back, or that's what they thought. They were awoken 10 years from Earth. But instead, much to her surprise, she has comes to find that 57 years have passed since she went into stasis. And not only that, the moon where they found the alien has been colonized by people. She obviously thinks this is a horrible idea and expresses her displeasure, which nobody listens to. So along with her, Sigourney Weaver returning in her iconic role, we're introduced to a man named Carter Burke, played by Paul Reiser, a very young Paul Reiser, who plays corporate sleazeball extremely well. He's the one who basically explains to Ripley what's going on. And then, surprise, surprise, all contact is lost with the colony. It seems kind of convenient timing, shall we say. In any case, a group of colonial marines is sent along with Ripley as the sort of advisor, consultant, and Paul Reiser as the company man, who we probably know a lot more than they're letting on, and are, let's say, extremely shrewd about attaining what they want to get, which essentially is the alien as a weapon, right? That's what they sort of seem to want in the first one, although they didn't really say it, and that's what they want in this one. That seems to be a recurring theme in Alien, is trying to attain these aliens to use as some sort of weapon, and obviously they cannot be contained. So the Marines that go along, the most notable played by Michael Biehn and the great Bill Paxton, chewing scenery as ever as the loud, obnoxious Marine that he is. But they're all full of testosterone-laced hubris and machismo, and they don't really buy what she's selling. They're just like, they think she's crazy, crackpot. It sounds like a kooky story. But when they arrive on the moon, and Lance Henriksen also is there as a android rounding out the motley crew of people going on this expedition. And of course, when Ripley this is the interesting thing that James Cameron did, playing on our preconceived notions of the android character from the first film, played by Ian Holm, who was ostensibly the bad guy along with the alien, because as a lot of these movies show, the bad guys, the aliens are just doing what the aliens do, and that's bad for us when we get in the way and they start chomping on us and face sucking and laying eggs in our body. But humans can be the much more insidious evil and parasite in this equation. Represented, the first film by Ian Holmes' android, represented more in this film by Carter Burke, played by Paul Reiser. And in any case, getting back to it, James Cameron plays with our preconceived notions of the android character from the first film, because Bishop winds up, Ripley is obviously, I don't like this guy, he better stay away from me because I had a bad experience. And he's like, oh, that could never happen again. And you're sitting there thinking, oh yeah, you just wait. But he winds up being pretty much the most benevolent character probably in the movie. So the Marines and this crew land on the moon full of vim and vigor and bullets and guns to spare. Hence how we get into our action mode. We get Marines with nothing but ammunition and a willingness to use it. So they land on the moon, though, and they find a desolate circumstance, no sign of the colonists, although they are managed to finally find them as a collective. And this rings a really eerie bell for Ripley. And going along, she manages to uncover a young girl named Newt, who seems to be the sole survivor of this mass extinction, or whatever you want to call it, slaughter, really. But she turns into sort of a matriarchal figure and wants to basically save this child. So it doesn't take long for them to finally stumble across the aliens, and bullets and blood and bullets and blood start flying, Marines start dying, and Ripley goes into Ripley badass mode, grabs herself a gun, and hauls ass in there to essentially save the day, as it turns into less of a let's find out what happened to the colonists and more of a battle of survival, which obviously, as we know, not many of them are going to survive. That being said, Ripley eventually uncovers what we now know of as the Alien Queen, which is one of James Cameron's main additions to this series, because back in the original Alien movie, like I said, I don't know if Ridley Scott intended it or not, but he didn't really there was a lot left unexplained, one of which was, where did these little pod egg things come from? And so James Cameron took that and made the Alien Queen, which was basically a huge version of the alien, which is attached to this egg-laying apparatus and putting out these pod egg things from which those little scuttly face sucker aliens come from. And this was interesting too, because while he followed the style of Giger, this was specifically designed by Cameron himself. So, that being said, Ripley encounters her, but sort of quickly backs off. They decide they're going to leave the planet and blow it up from orbit. There's some action based on, Newt getting lost. We got to rescue the Marines. We got to rescue Newt. We got to rescue the girl Newt. And she grabs who she can. They get back to the ship and they're like, "We're gonna nuke it from orbit." And that happens. And similar to the first Alien movie, the Alien Queen has managed to stow away and reveals herself in grand fashion as she rips the poor Bishop android apart. It's pretty gruesome, although he's not blood, he's like this white goo stuff for fluid rather than blood, but it's still pretty gruesome. And so then we get this basically like a boss battle from a video game, which is funny because they use like a film device, which I don't know if I like very much, but it's one of those things where, so early on in the narrative, before they leave, Ripley is trying to get back to some sort of normal existence, and she's using she's learned how to use this exoskeleton like loader device, right? And so now back on the ship, she manages to get herself into this exoskeleton loader device, and now she has a puncher's chance against this alien queen. And it's funny because it's a battle of, she gets into a very, mama bear protective mode essentially, which really they both are. It's a fight of these two matriarchal figures both trying to perpetuate their existence, which is kind of interesting. So, but ultimately, as we know, Ripley manages to trap the alien queen under the loader and then blow her out of the airlock. There's a few down checks here for me for Cameron, because there's more than a few times where I don't know if he was just trying to pay homage to the initial series, but he basically does once again what the first Alien did. He killed the alien in the same method by blowing them out of the airlock. When the Marines are on the moon hunting the aliens, he uses the same sort of technology. The little in the first film, they had a contraption rigged up to basically sense when the aliens were coming. However it worked, it doesn't really matter. Essentially, they held it. They could see them blipping as they got closer to them on the ship, and they used the same technology here. So all that adds up to a little bit of a down check, but it's still, he did enough with it, obviously, to create his own niche, to build on what Ridley Scott had done, to change basically morph the genre of it, like I said, from horror to action, and keep Ridley as the primary protagonist, the female badass. So the slight down checks taken into account, this is still an amazing sequel, and it shows in the hands of a superlative filmmaker and a superlative storyteller how good an original can be, along with how good a sequel can be, even if the filmmakers are kind of on different ends of the creative spectrum. So overall, I have to give Aliens, directed by James Cameron, an A-. I love you. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching my movie review. I enjoyed making it. As always, this has been a production of Zero Value.